Welcome to Courageous Conviction. Remember that Jeff and I record each Saturday 5 episodes. So please hit the like button, subscribe so you catch all 5 episodes. We usually start out with one theme or topic. We have to go down a lot of rabbit holes to really understand it. Some things are more sensitive than others right now, what's going on in the world. So hit the like button, subscribe, and let's jump into this video.
Good morning, Courageous Conviction. Eric and I are here. Eric and Jeff. We are glad to be here this Saturday morning. How you doing, Eric?
I'm doing good, Jeff. Doing good. We're talking a little bit about what we're boxing over with the whole illegal thing this morning. I'm just trying to come to an understanding of it.
Yeah.
Hey, hey, look, Jeff, I just want to pick up on that. What I was trying to refer to last week was just what the term is, what the phase is, and that's the name of it, what they call it. Okay. So now, and we even put the title of the last video, what do we call this? And so now what we're talking about, and you and I talking off air, going back to a little bit about that immigration stuff a little bit and about safety and so forth, and what we're starting to see now. And, you know, not just the safety with the illegals come across, but the safety and the idea of now we had this, we can show it today, these Chileans, right, coming up now and just going up and just coming up and robbing. But here's the problem, right? And we can say, okay, the problem is the border. The problem is all these illegals coming in. And I'm with you 100% on the fact that I'm not anti-immigration. I'm anti-illegal immigration. Right. And we know that, unfortunately, all the people coming across. And I was talking yesterday to this guy, Modesto, right? I was telling you that story earlier. And I was just he's a really good guy. He's a Mexican guy. He doesn't speak much English. You know, he just pretty much speaks Spanish. And around here, that kind of bothers me because they don't try to learn the English. And that kind of bugs me. You know, they go everywhere and they just speak Spanish and they expect you to kind of cater to them. And that kind of bothers me a little bit because, you know, when I lived in 5 different countries, right? And so when I was there, I learned their language. When I was in Brazil, I learned Portuguese. I was in Latin countries, I learned Spanish. And I made that effort, you know. And what bothers me at times where I'm at is I don't like that because I don't want us to lose our American culture. Now, you know, you can go into say, well, you know, we need to have this nice variety of people. What's the word I want for that is the word that they use now, the political word when you have try to have a variety of people.
Diversity, right?
Diversity.
So there's that dumb word. So, you know, no, I agree with you. You know, I on those ideas, you know, I think the reason I throw caution out there is because I think we have the same vision of having, and like a lot of people who aren't racist, but they're just, you know, if you're talking about diversity of having multiple colors, that's great. But if you're talking about diversity of having, you know, a lack of patriotism, or you having these, you know, headbutting things like, hey,
multiple cultures,
you know, well, you know, you can celebrate. I like to celebrate my Costa Rica heritage. You know, my children, we eat Costa Rica food here sometimes, you know, but we eat American food most of the time. Or, you know, maybe we go and have some Thai food, or we have other stuff. But, you know, but we do want Spanish in the home. We speak Spanish in our home. When I'm out and about, you know, a lot of times I do speak Spanish. But I see what you mean about because we both have lived outside of the country. I hated it living in Costa Rica and other areas in Spain when Americans showed up and only were speaking English in a grocery store to, you know, 100% Spanish speaking person. I think that's rude and, you know, certainly not the most efficient way of communicating, and it's offensive, you know. So when you're in a country, you've got to learn, you know, and acclimate to the culture that you live in. Just like we did when we were in Costa Rica. You know, I remember, you know, going to soccer games. I was never a big soccer fan before that, but I kind of changed when we lived in Costa Rica and got on board. I didn't love the food at first in Costa Rica, but I took some time and got to understand what it was all about. And I think that people that don't acclimate are missing out. Same thing with people that come up over the border, you know, and come into our country and, you know, create pockets of you know, whatever country they come from, you know, and maybe we're missing out. They're missing out, and I can see the resentment that some people have from our country from that happening. Now,
Well,
you know, I think that, you know, at some point you just, you know, I mean, I've been to New York. I remember going to places to where it was all Albanian, you know, and even all the street signs was 100% Albanian. And you know, I mean, what do we do in certain situations? These people have become nationalized.
well,
Um,
you look at, and you see, I guess my point with being that is they're trying to bring people in that are not vetted and that will not adapt to the American culture. When I mean American culture, I'm talking about that banner, that flag, that Constitution, right? And those amendments that's American culture. The First and Second Amendment really what separates us from the rest of the world. And so that is what I'm trying to defend, is that because we lose those, we've lost even the right to religion. Okay. And God will be gone too. And that's what the overall end game is for these people. And that's why the invasion is being allowed right now, because it wants to fade that out and blew everything out. And that was the only point I was trying to make. But I don't want to go down that deep rabbit hole today, Jeff. What I want to talk about today, and you mentioned it earlier, and I think we should talk about it together, is the safety, not just we're talking about people come across the border. That's a whole different thing. There are now, hey, we're talking about that southern border. I've been watching and listening. The northern border is just as bad. It's just we're not talking about it because nobody's looking at it. But they go into Canada much easier than it is to get into Mexico, for example. It's much easier for Latinos to get a visa to Canada because Canada has work visas. They go in Canada. You've got just as much cartel in northern Wyoming, for example, forming now. And they're forming actually groups in northern Wyoming now. And they're actually coming in because they're the marijuana cartels, right? They're coming in and they go into our national parks. You know why? You know why they do this? And they're trying to make it federally because growing marijuana and the movement of marijuana is a type 2 type of a crime, a misdemeanor. It's not a felony. It's a misdemeanor now. And they're trying to make it a federal misdemeanor. So now we've got cartels coming in, especially in California. But California, you got the southern border, but the northern border are coming in for the same reasons because a lot of states, marijuana or marijuana growing or crops, right, is only a misdemeanor. So why not come here to grow it?
I thank you for being with us on Courageous Conviction. Remember, there's 5 episodes each week that we put out. We have to go down a lot of rabbit holes, so stay with us, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and don't miss tomorrow's episode on Courageous Conviction.